and welcome to today's video. I'm coming to you from Norway. If you watched Tuesday's video, which I'll talk about more in a minute, you'll know that I'm in Norway. I've done a lot of knitting. I've finished 3 things and I've half finished another thing, and I can't decide what to cast on next. And I bought some yarn while I've been here as well, which if you watch Tuesday's video, you'll know that. But I also bought some yarn that I didn't share in Tuesday's video. So I'm going to share all that with you today. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you're new here, my name is Anniken. I design knitting patterns, I teach knitting workshops online and in person, and I sell yarn through my website YarnAddict.co.uk. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. My online shop is currently closed. It will reopen next week, either Thursday or Friday, but hopefully I might be able to open it Tuesday, and then I'm leaving here on Wednesday, so I'm hoping to open it on Tuesday if I remember, and then ship any orders on Thursday. Subscribe to my newsletter and follow me on social media, because I'll let the newsletter and social media know first. I probably won't film next week's podcast till I get home, I don't think, because I'm travelling home on Wednesday, so I'll probably film it on Thursday, which is when I normally film now. Before we start, just want to quickly tell you about Tuesday's video. So last week I went into Oslo for a day, Friday I think it was, and I visited 4 yarn shops, and I filmed a little video and I shared what I bought in those yarn shops. I also shared, if you were visiting Oslo as a tourist, the best way to get to those yarn shops, because 2 of them are in the city centre, 2 are not, but they're easy to get to by public transport. So if you haven't watched that video, it's the last video on my YouTube channel before this one, and I will link it at the end of this video if I can. Don't know if I can do that if I upload it on my phone, but I'll link it below in the description below. My newsletter, sign up, and all my social media is also linked below this video. When I get home, I have some workshops. So on the 11th of March, I have a workshop of spinning yarn in Bovey Tracy, Devon. It's a top-down circular yoke fair isle sweater workshop. So we're going to be knitting a circular yoke sweater from the top down with a fair isle pattern, so you'll learn how to do the top down shaping, how to work out your own size. I'll give you like a little formula you can use for working out your own size, and also how to add a fair isle pattern or any other pattern really. And if you haven't done fair isle knitting before, I will also teach you how to do that. So it's suitable for people who've done fair isle knitting before, who want to learn how to knit a top down circular yoke sweater. But it's also suitable for people who haven't done fair isle before. We knit a little mini sweater in the class. That's a spinning yarn in Bovey Tracy, and their website is linked below, and I'll put it on the screen here as well. So contact them. And then on the 18th of March, I'm teaching finishing techniques at Spinning Yarn as well. Perfect workshop if you knit a lot of sweaters and you don't like sewing up and the finishing things. I know a lot of people now knit sweaters that don't need sewing up, but there might be times when you want to sew something up. So we cover sewing up, but we also cover other things. So even if you mainly knit sweaters in the round now and you don't sew up very often, we also do things like short row shaping, picking up stitches, knitting button bands, 1-row buttonholes, and a few other things. So we cover quite a lot in that class. And I think it's this class that every knitter ought to take at some point in their knitting career. And then on the 29th of April at Spinning Yarn, I'm teaching toe-up socks. So learn how to knit socks from the toe up. You will knit a little mini sock in the class, then you'll get a full-size sock pattern to take home. And then on the 28th of March at the Knitting Hotel in Dawlish in Devon, I am teaching brioche knitting. Now that is a weekend retreat. People arrive on Thursday and they leave on either Sunday night or Monday morning. I'm teaching on the Friday, I think, on the 28th. And they do day guests as well. So it's always worth getting in touch with Belinda at Knitting Hotel, and their website is below, and I'll put it on the screen here. And get in touch with her and say you're interested, because she might get cancellations, so she may have a waiting list, but she also takes day guests. So if she hasn't got any day guests coming for that weekend, you might be able to come for the whole weekend or just for that day. and you can stay somewhere else locally. There's a guest house just across the road, and there's several other guest houses and B&Bs and stuff in Dawlish. And you basically, if you come as a day guest, you spend the whole day at a knitting hotel and you just sleep somewhere else. And loads of people do that. So that's also an option if you can't get in. And you can also come just for the workshop. So contact Belinda if you're interested in that. So I filmed my last video last Monday last week. I'd come back from Unravel, I was pretty exhausted, filmed the video, and then the next day I had to be at the train station at 6 in the morning to catch the train to London. I tried to sleep a bit on the train, but I did also knit a lot. When I got to London, I had to get from Paddington Station to Liverpool Street Station, which is a very short ride on the Elizabeth line. When I got to London, the weather was beautiful, it was sunny, it was quite cold, but it was sunny. And I'd been sitting on the train since 6 in the morning. I'd spent the whole weekend inside because we were at Unravel. And I thought, oh, I just fancy a bit of fresh air and a bit of exercise. So they have a electric bike scheme in London called, they're run by Lime Bikes. So I went outside, and I have the Lime app on my phone because I've used Lime bikes in London and in Oslo before. So I went outside and I tried to find a Lime bike. I had to walk 5 minutes, I think, to find one. Normally there's loads around Paddington when I've done it before, but there wasn't. I'd already looked up the cycle route from Paddington Station to Liverpool Street Station. So, and there was a way that you could go. They were mostly on cycle routes. So picked up my bike. First bit was on the cycle lane, but it was next to the roads. It was fairly busy. And then I got to Hyde Park and I cycled through Hyde Park, which was lovely, and along the Serpentine. And then I went across to, I think I went through Green Park, down to Buckingham Palace, past Buckingham Palace, down, I think it's Birdcage Walk or something. I think so. I don't know that part of London that well, because I don't go to the Buckingham Palace area very often. And then cycled down to Westminster, past the Houses of Parliament and Big Ben, and then along the river for quite a while. I stopped a few times in the park and Buckingham Palace and stuff and did a bit of filming, just short little clips, which I'll show you in a minute. But when I got to the embankment and I was cycling along the river, I didn't stop. And I kind of regret that because it was beautiful. I filmed a little bit where I held the camera in my hand, and I'm not sure you're legally allowed to do that, whether it's like using a car that you're not supposed to use a camera, but I did do it in the park and there wasn't very many people around. I was tempted to do it on the when I was cycling along the Thames, because it is a separate cycle path and it's separated from the main road, but there is like one lane each way, so you've got cyclists going that way and cyclists coming that way. But it was really lovely. It was really cold, and I wore my fingerless gloves from Turtle Doves, they're cashmere ones, but my hands were really cold, so I took it in turns to put one hand inside my coat pocket. And when I got to where I had to turn away from the Thames, I got a little bit lost, and I got to the point where I was thinking about just parking the bike and walking the rest of the way, because I was only like 5-10 minutes walk away. And then I tried to leave the bike and I tried to scan it out to end the ride, and it wouldn't let me because you can't park the bike everywhere, and it said I was in a no park zone. So I thought, oh, never mind. So I got back on the bike and worked out where to go, and I got there in the end, but it took me like 5 minutes longer than what the prediction was, if you like. But I didn't cycle particularly fast. It's an electric bike. It was flat most of the way. There was a small hill right at the end, but it's an electric bike, so it was quite easy. I had a lot of people ask me what I did with my luggage when I posted a video on social media, and I only had a backpack. So my backpack was on my back and I had a small crossbody sling bag thing. So I'll show you that video now of me cycling through London, and I think there's also a bit of knitting from the airport on there as well. Then I'll come back and show you what I knitted on that day. So on the travelling day, my goal was to knit this headband. So let me just put it on. So on the day I was travelling, I knitted this headband. I cast on the train, and I knitted a little bit, and then I wasn't happy with my bead placement, so I ripped it out and cast on again. And I finished this when I was at the airport. Yeah, I finished at Stansted Airport, and normally I would have blocked it before I sewed it together. But you basically sew the two short ends together to create this knot effect at the top here. And I would have blocked it beforehand, but I knew that it was going to be cold when I landed, and I think it was like -8 when I landed, and I had to wait for the train at the airport and in Oslo. So I sewed it together so if it was cold I could put it on. I did put it on when I was waiting for the train, both at the airport and in Oslo. And then when I got to my parents the next day, I just like steam pressed it. So I haven't blocked it properly, but it has just been like steam pressed. And I probably could do with blocking it properly, I think. But let me show you up close what it looks like. So the lace pattern could do with opening up a bit more. So I think when I get home, I'm going to actually block it properly. And it has beads on it. So originally I was supposed to have 3 beads in a row, and then I changed my mind, and I'm much happier with this. So I really like it. I think that's probably the right way up. Yeah, that looks better. Anyway, I'm really happy with it. I use Spectrum Fibre. I think it's Superwash Merino, 100% Superwash Merino, DK. I can't remember the colourway. I left the label at home. And then when I got here, I also brought another colourway of the Superwash Merino DK. That's one of the Spectrum Fibre Club colourways from last year. I was a member of their monthly club for the first half of last year, and because I didn't use any of the yarns I got 100 grams skein of DK every month, and I didn't do anything with them, so I cancelled it after 6 months because I didn't want to just amass a load of DK. My plan was to do something with it, but I just didn't get around to it. So I used the yarn I had left from this plus part of this skein. I haven't actually weighed this to see how much I've used, and I knitted this cow. It's got a lovely heart pattern on it. So this I cast on the day after I got here and finished over the weekend sometime. Can't remember. Was it before the weekend? I can't remember. I got her on Tuesday. I probably finished it on before the weekend. But I'm very happy with that. I worn it a couple of times. It was a bit chilly the first few days I was here. Not as cold as last time I was here when it got down to like -13. It's been hovering around 0 or just above 0. A few days after I got here, it snowed overnight one night, and then the next day it started raining. And now most of the snow has gone. And I'm looking out the window. The only snow I can see is where it's been snow's been cleared and it's been piled up, and that snow is still there when it's been like compacted and pushed to the side of the road and things. That's still there, but all the snow, like the lawns and everything like that, has gone in the area I'm in, which is a shame. And we've had a few days of rain and murky grey weather, so I've only worn this once, I think, maybe twice, because it is quite warm, but I'm very happy with it. So I will be releasing patterns for both of these. They are top of my list to write up when I get home, because obviously they're winter accessories, although they're very small accessories, and I think small winter accessories are a good thing to knit in the summer when you may not want something big in your lap. Especially if you want to knit Christmas presents, these are very good Christmas presents because they take relatively small amounts of yarn. And then after I finished that, I decided to cast on for something else, and I knitted on it for a couple of days and then I kind of abandoned it. So I've never done double knitting before. I had in my head that it was really difficult. So anyway, I did some Googling and watched a couple of videos, and I decided to start a plain double knit headband. So basically it looks like stocking stitch on both sides, and it is the two sides aren't attached. So if I took the needle out, you could open it and see the middle. And I mean, it's the same as knitting in the round, but you're doing it all on one needle. And I got a bit bored. I probably should have done a 2-colour one, but I didn't have any other yarn that was suitable. So I started this, and my plan was to knit a headband. This is a simple headband, but I kind of abandoned it, and I don't know whether to rip it out or whether to carry on with it. So I've just left it because I'm not sure what to do with it. Those are the first 2 projects I finished when I got here. The day after I got here, I went to the local yarn shop, and I didn't film anything there because I was just in and out fairly quickly, because I wanted a skein of sock yarn, because I wanted to make sure that I had socks to knit on in case I needed some out and about knitting, or if I finished a cowl before the weekend and I didn't get around to going to Oslo before the weekend, I wanted to make sure I had some yarn. So I went in and I got a skein of opal. Let me just get it out. So it's in one of those like big center pull balls. Yeah, you know, like the ones that opal come in. And I don't like knitting for those because they take up quite a lot of space. So I always wind them. So I just hand wound it into a ball because this is easier to knit from, and it fits in my little project bag much better. It is opal Degenwald 19. My German is not very good. It's like a jungle type colourway, I think. It is colourway 11337. So 11337. 25% wool, 25% nylon. And I knitted the first one, which I finished yesterday, I think. Yeah, yesterday. I've done an afterthought here, which looks silly when you just hold it like that, but it looks quite good on your foot. It looks better when I put it on my sock blocker, but I haven't got my sock blocker with me. So I knitted it top down, rib at the top, stocking stitch, put the stitches for the heel on waist yarn, knitted the foot, decided, because I thought I'd knitted the foot a little bit too long, so I decided to do a circular toe, because that takes a fewer rounds than a regular wedge toe. And then I've also done an afterthought heel with a circular toe. So I haven't actually tried them on yet, so I need to do that, make sure they are the right size. If not, I will undo the toe and adjust it. And then last night I cast on for a new sock, and I knitted all that last night. I finished this yesterday evening, and then I knitted this. I thought I would just try and get the rib finished, but I carried on. So I've probably done another 20 rounds after the rib maybe. So my goal is to finish this while I'm here. We're going to my aunt and uncle's on Sunday, so I'll take this with me then, because it's easy knitting I can do while I'm chatting. I'd like to finish this before I leave, and leave these socks here, because I wear socks every night, knitted socks, because my feet get really cold. So I wear hand knitted socks every night, and I have a pair here, but I could do with a second pair. So my goal is to finish these before I leave and leave them here. That was my goal with the ones I cast on last time I was here, and I only finished the first one. So I knitted the second one on the way home, and I finished that on the way to Unravel 2 weeks ago. So my goal is to finish this here, which is why yesterday I was really focusing on just getting the first one done and the second one cast on. When I went shopping in Oslo, I bought some yarn, and I'm not going to talk a lot about the yarn I bought because it's in the video I filmed from Oslo, so you can watch it there. But I bought some Drops Air, which is like one of these blown yarns. It's very fluffy and it's shed quite a lot, so I don't know whether I actually like this. Now this has not been blocked, and I do think it needs blocking, but I decided to wait and block it when I get home. But because tiny scarves are very popular, I decided to just do a quick, easy tiny scarf. So it's in garter stitch. I did play around a little bit with like double knitting edges, beginning and end of the row being in double knit, because that gives you quite a nice edge, but I wasn't 100% sure, so I tried 3 or 4 different things, ripped it back, cast on again, and this only took me a few days. In fact, the second half of this I knitted in an evening. So it was quite a quick knit. It's not very long. It will grow a little bit when I block it. So once I've blocked it, I will show it to you. But it's a very gentle, very shallow triangle. So if I put it on unblocked, it's just like that. And I can just tie a little knot in it like that. I do like the fact that it's 2 colours. You can do it in 1 colour. So you can make the whole scarf out of one of those 50 grams. I've got the label. Oh yes, I do have the label here. So it's Drops Air, and it has 150 meters per 50 grams. The recommended needle size is 5 millimeters. So to me that makes it like an Aran weight, but the meterage it's more meterage than you get from most DK yarns, but I guess that's because of that blown texture. It makes it very light and very warm. I don't know if I'm going to keep this myself because it does shed quite a lot, but I do have a friend who had a birthday in January, and I do quite often knit her something for her birthday, and I haven't seen her since her birthday. So I am thinking maybe I will give it to her as her birthday present, because she does like neck accessories and soft yarn, and she likes pink. So I don't know, I might give it to her because I don't know what to get her for her birthday. I'm going to block it when I get home, take photos and things, write up the pattern. I will release the pattern. This is a pattern I'm thinking about maybe releasing in different yarn weights to give some flexibility. It's a quick, easy, if you have just 100 grams, 50 grams of any yarn, you could knit this and you can adjust the size really easily. Also, when I was in the local yarn shop and I bought the sock yarn, I also got a pack of these stitch markers. They are kind of the same ones that Cocoa Knits do, but these are from Katja. They're slightly different colours. But I have loads of those. I use them all the time, but I really like those colours. So I'm not going to take them home in this tin. I'm going to probably take about half of them and put them in my knitting tin, my little tool tin, which is, no, I must have left it in the lounge, I think. I thought it was in my project bag. The project bag I brought with me was this one, which is the Cool Woolings Advent Calendar Oh Wow Amsterdam bag. And this one for my out and about sock bag. So I've been storing everything in here as I've been working on things, and I have a little tool tin with all my stitch markers, tape measures, scissors, sewing needles, that kind of thing. So I'm probably going to put about half of that in there, and half of this I'm going to put in a little knitting toolkit that I'm leaving here. So I bought a pouch with me with some wooden needles and some barber cords, scissors, tape measure, different things like that I'm going to leave here, and some stitch markers, so that I don't have to bring all that with me every time. I also bought a new little scale. I have like these little scales that I use for weighing swatches and leftover yarn and things like that, and I have 2 at home, and normally I take one with me, but I bought one extra and I'm going to leave that here because that is like a pouch I don't have to pack every time, and it makes it easier when I'm just packing in a backpack. Also, while I was in Oslo, I bought this little tape measure, and that's coming home with me. It says strikkeglede, which means knitting joy. And I've taken that home with me because I quite like it. But I have another tape measure I'm leaving here. Also in Oslo, I bought this skein of mohair boucle. It's like a violet colour. Really like it. It is 170 meter per 100 gram. They recommend 4 to 5 millimeter needles. It's mohair by Canard. So I'm assuming that's the brand. I've never heard of it before, but I really liked it. and I wanted to get some mohair boucle at Unravel, and the stall holder I wanted to buy from wasn't on the stall when I walked past before the show started, so I didn't buy any, so I got this. I'm not sure what to knit with it. I'm worried it's going to shed a lot, and I wear a lot of black, so I don't know whether to knit with this, cast on for something now, like today, or whether to leave it till I get home. I was thinking about one of those small scarves, but without any patterning, possibly. But I haven't decided yet. And a few days ago, my mum and I went shopping in a nearby town called She, and we went, there's a yarn shop there that I always go into called Nestimate. I'll put the name on the screen. They have yarn shops in several places, just south of Oslo and in Oslo, but it's nothing in the city centre. But they are like a chain of yarn stores. And I saw this and I couldn't resist it, and I don't know what to knit with it, but it is the Lang Millicalori Socks and Lace Luxe. I think I've actually bought this wholesale before. I could get this wholesale, I think. I've stocked it before, but I just love that colourway. My mum bought it as well. Don't think I'm going to do socks with it, although I was thinking maybe I will if I finish the other socks. I was thinking about a shawl with it. I may get this back in and stock it because I think my wholesaler still has it. So I might get it again, which is why I'm thinking I might do a shawl with it. But I can't decide whether to cast on from this or this for my next project. So tell me in the comments, what would you do? Because this goes out on YouTube tomorrow, and I may not have made a decision by tomorrow. The local yarn shop, when I went in there the other day, outside the shop, on their porch area, they had some baskets of reduced yarn, and I didn't look at it on the way in, I looked at it on the way out, and they had some Nora Silk Garden sock in a really pretty blue purple colorway, and I may buy that. I regret not buying it. I'm going to take my parents to physio tomorrow, and I might pop up to the yarn shop while they're at physio and get it if they still have it, because it was a very good price. It was reduced, and my friend who had the birthday in January really likes Noro, so I'm thinking I might knit something out of that for her, like a little scarf out of that for her, if they still have it. But it was a really pretty colourway, so I might go and pick up 1 or 2 balls of that tomorrow. So if I do that, then I think I'd rather cast on that, because then I can finish it before I get home, hopefully, or on the way home, and then hopefully I'll see my friend in the next couple of weeks and give it to her as a birthday present. So that's the other reason why I haven't cast on anything new yet, but I could do a casting on something else today. I might pop in there today actually, because I got to go out in a minute and I'm driving past there, so I might pop in then. I did pop down to the local yarn shop after I finished filming the main podcast, and I got this, which is Nora's Silk Garden sock. I got it for about £7, and I think it's probably at least twice that in the UK at full price. And then I also picked up 2 50-gram balls of sock yarn. They are 75% wool, 25% nylon, so 100 grams in total, and they were £2.80. It's £2.80 in total. So I basically got 100 gram of Nora's Silk Garden sock and these 2 100 gram sock yarn for less than £10. So that's a really good bargain. And I've cast on for a little shawl for the sock yarn. There's the one skein shawl. It's the World Championships in Nordic skiing this week and next week, and the opening race was today. It was a sprint for women and men, and Norway came second in the women's sprint. Sweden won, and Norway won the men's sprint. And the World Championships in Nordic skiing, cross-country skiing, ski jumping, and combined ski jumping and cross-country skiing is like the biggest thing in Norway. It's massive, and the championships are actually in Norway, in the town where I was born. So it's a huge deal, and Norway got off to a great start, and I made a couple of mistakes while I was watching, but I managed to fix them. So that is it for today. Don't forget, if you didn't watch the yarn shopping vlog from Oslo on Tuesday, do go and watch it. I'll link it below. It's the last video on my YouTube channel. I'll be back on Tuesday with another video, and then I'll be back with the podcast next Friday, and I will film that after I get home. So I'll show you what I knitted for the last few days in Norway. I have 5 full days left after today, so 6 with today, and then I leave on next Wednesday. And yeah, I'm looking forward to getting home and getting on with some work. By the time I get home next week, so far this year I will have been away for 4.5 weeks in total. Oh, plus unravels, I guess 5 weeks in total if I add it all up, so that's quite a lot. So I'm looking forward to getting on with some work when I get home, because I've got a lot of pattern writing to catch up on. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. Thank you to all the new subscribers, I really appreciate it. Leave me a comment, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.